Today we are diving into something super interesting and really useful in everyday conversations. Conditional sentences. Conditional sentences are statements discussing known factors or hypothetical situations and their consequences. These sentences typically use if to present a condition and describe what happens or might happen depending on that condition. So students, think of them as a cause and effect duo. Means if one thing happens, then another thing follows. Purpose. Conditional sentences are essential because they help us to predict future events. Means it describes what will happen if certain conditions are met. The second purpose is reflect on past events. It also discusses what could have happened under different circumstances. State general truths. It also shows the truth, means explain universal facts or habitual actions. Hypothesize. It explores imaginary situations and their potential outcomes. So next is the key components of conditional sentences. The first component is the condition clause, means the if clause. This part of the sentence introduces the condition. Typically starts with if. The conditional sentences starts with if. You can also use if at the center of the sentence. For example, if it rains, this is a condition. Result clause, it is also known as the main clause. This part describes the outcome or the result of the condition. Follows the condition clause. For example, we will stay indoors. There are different types of conditional sentences. Zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. So now we discuss the types one by one. The first one is the zero condition. Zero conditional is used to express general truths, scientific facts, and situations that are always true when the condition is met. This type of conditional sentence is simple and direct, reflecting cause and effect relationships that are universally accepted as true. The structure of this type of conditional sentence is if plus present simple, then comma, the present simple. Means the if clause introduces the condition, can be in the simple present tense, and the main clause states the result, it can also be in the simple present tense. Let's take examples. If you heat water to 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. So in the example, if introduces the condition, you heat means it is the simple present tense. Water to 100 degrees Celsius, it specifies the condition under which the result will occur. Means this is the condition. Then the result clause, which is also known as the main clause, which is it boils. It refers to the water, and boils uses the simple present tense to indicate the result of the condition. So, zero conditional sentences are used when we have to express the general truth. The sentence also reflects a scientific fact that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at standard atmospheric pressure. This is a general truth because it's universally observed and accepted. So the outcome, in this case, the outcome is predictable and consistent without any exceptions. Let's take another example. If you drop a ball, it falls. Here also, if you drop a ball is the condition and it is written in simple present tense. And the result is it falls. It is also in the simple present tense. This sentence describes a general physical law of gravity. Means whenever a ball is dropped, it will fall due to gravity. Another example, if it rains, the ground gets wet. If it rains is the condition and the result is the ground gets wet. This sentence also states a common natural phenomenon. Whenever it rains, the ground inevitably becomes wet. If you mix red and blue, you get purple. If you mix red and blue is the condition and the outcome is you get purple. Both sentences are in the simple present tense. This sentence describes a basic color mixing fact. Combining red and blue always results in purple. So that is the reason we consider this sentence in zero condition. Some key points of zero conditionals. First one is the usage. Zero conditionals are used to state facts, scientific truths, or habitual actions. We discussed it in the previous examples. Tense. Both clauses use the present simple tense. Certainty. The outcome is certain and happens every time the condition is met. Applicability. These sentences are often used in scientific, instructional, or explanatory contexts. Let's discuss the next conditional. First conditional. The first conditional is used to talk about real and possible situations in the future. It is employed to express likely outcomes that will happen if a certain condition is fulfilled. Structure. If plus present simple, the condition is in the present simple form and the outcome is in the form of will plus base verb. It introduces the condition that must be met for the result to occur. And it describes the likely outcome or result that will happen if the condition is met. Let's take examples. If it rains tomorrow, we will cancel the picnic. Here, if is the word that introduces the conditional clauses and it rains uses the present simple tense to describe the condition. Tomorrow specifies the time frame for the condition. And the result clause is in the form of will plus will followed by the base form of verb. It describes the likely outcome or result that will happen if the condition is met. Means we will cancel the party. It indicates the future action that depends on the condition. Cancel the picnic is the specific action that will happen if the condition is fulfilled. So the first conditional sentences talk about a possible future events as its likely consequences. The condition if it rains tomorrow describe a situation that could realistically happen in the future and the result we will cancel the picnic is the action that will be taken if the condition is met. Another example, if she studies hard, she will pass the exam. Here, if she studies hard is in the present simple form, it is the condition and the outcome is that she will pass the exam. This sentence indicates a likely future outcome, that is the passing the exam, if the condition means studying hard is fulfilled. If you don't hurry, you will miss the train. Here this sentence predicts a possible future scenario, means catching the bus based on the condition, leaving now. If they arrive early, we will have more time to prepare. Here, we will have more time to prepare is the result, is the main clause using the simple present tense, and it depends upon the condition, means if they arrive early. So this sentence means that having more time to prepare is dependent on them arriving early. So why use the first conditional? Realism. It describes situations that are possible and realistic, helping to plan and prepare for future events. Predictive. It is useful for making predictions about the future based on current actions or situations. Decision making. It helps in decision-making processes by outlining potential outcomes based on different conditions. Warning and advice. It is often used to give warnings or advice about future actions. Next is the second conditional. The second conditional is used to talk about hypothetical or unlikely situations in the present or future. It helps to describe what you would do if things were different from how they actually are. These are some imaginary situations. Its structure is if plus past simple, and the outcome is in the form of would plus base verb. It introduces a condition that is imaginary, hypothetical, or unlikely to happen. And this describes the outcome or result that would happen if the conditions were met. Let's take examples. If I won the lottery, I would travel the world. Here, if sets up the hypothetical scenario. I won uses the past simple tense to indicate an unlikely or imaginary situation. And the result clause is in the form of would plus the first form of verb, base form of verb. It describes the outcome or result that would happen if the conditions were met. I would indicates a hypothetical outcome, and travel the world is the action that would occur if the conditions were true. Next example. If she were rich, she would buy a mansion. This sentence also describes a hypothetical situation, means being rich, and the action buying a mansion that would follow. If I had a car, I would drive to work. This sentence imagines an unreal present situation, having a car, and the result means what would happen if the condition were met. If she were a teacher, she would make learning fun. Key points of using second conditional. Unlikely or imaginary situations. The second conditional is used when the situation is improbable or purely hypothetical. Tense usage. The past simple tense is in the clause and would in the main clause. Flexibility. It helps in discussing various imaginary scenarios and their possible outcomes. Third conditional. The third conditional is used to talk about hypothetical situations in the past and their possible outcomes. It describes scenarios that did not happen and imagines what the result would have been if they had. The structure is if plus past perfect, and the result clause is in the would have plus past participle. If plus past perfect introduces a past situation that did not happen, and this describes the imagined result that would have occurred if the past conditions had been met. First example, If it had rained, we would have stayed inside. Here, if sets up the hypothetical past scenario. It had rained uses the past perfect tense to indicate an unreal condition in the past. And the result clause uses would have followed by a past participle of the verb. It describes the imagined result that would have occurred if the past conditions have been met. We would have stayed inside. It indicates the hypothetical past outcome. Stayed inside is the action that would have happened if the condition were true. So, it is useful for reflecting on missed opportunities or imagining different outcomes based on past event. If she had left earlier, she would have caught the train. This sentence imagines a different past outcome, catching the train, based on an unreal past action, leaving early. If they had known about the traffic, they would have taken a different route. This sentence also discusses an unreal past condition, means knowing about the traffic and its hypothetical result, taking a different route. If I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. This sentence reflects on a missed opportunity, studying harder, and its imagined result, means passing the exam. Why are conditional sentences important? Communication clarity. They help in clearly expressing consequences, possibilities, and hypothetical scenarios, making communication precise. Planning and decision making. It is useful in planning and predicting future events based on current or past conditions. Expressing regrets and wishes. It allows us to express regrets about the past or wishes for the future. Learning and instructions. It is frequently used in educational contexts to explain rules, instructions, and natural phenomenon. Thank you for joining with us.